Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's Friday, and we have our Stories of Hope series today. My first guest is Tanya Paynter. She's a naturopathic doctor who left the world of traditional medical care to create an online business and coaching program for women struggling with chronic migraines. She graduated from the University of Washington with a Bachelor of Science in cellular and molecular biology and a minor in inorganic chemistry. She went to medical school at Bastyr University and received her doctorate in naturopathic medicine in 2012. After graduation, she entered into private practice from 2012 to 2021. Now she runs an online program to help women struggling with chronic migraine who are finding that conventional treatment approaches are not working well and who are looking to find a way to heal their body, not just control their symptoms. She's also the Christian clinician, and she loves to talk about the importance of developing a relationship with God as part of the healing journey and the research that we have about it. So she is somewhat of a neurotheology geek, the study of how religion impacts our neurological and biological function. And she's passionate about talking how to support and focus on our spiritual health and how that has an incredible impact on our physical and emotional health as well. Welcome to the show today, Tanya Paynter.
Oh, thank you so much, Kornelia. It's wonderful to be here.
Yeah, and we just found out that you and I are close to each other. You're in Spokane and I'm over here past Seattle. So it's wonderful.
We're neighbors.
We're neighbors. That's so good. So, the fact that you developed this online program and you became a naturopath, what prompted you to start that and do that?
Well, I've wanted to be a doctor since I was in the fourth grade when I first learned about how the body worked, and it was just amazing. And so when I grew up and I learned that there was a way of treating the body in a more natural and holistic manner so that we're not just systems. We are a whole person and they all interconnect. So it didn't make sense to me to have only the brain or only the gut or only the immune system, since we're a whole being. And then I found out about naturopathic medicine, and the rest is history. As far as migraines go, I used to have daily chronic headaches that were undiagnosed migraines for most of my life up and through my 30s. And when I went to medical school, I was able to figure out how to treat myself so that I actually healed from them. And now my last migraine was probably 9 years ago, knock on wood. Because I know, I understand what my body needs now. I understand how it's telling me I'm out of balance and what I can do to help support it without needing any kind of medication. And that's what we strive to teach our clients, how to understand what imbalances are contributing to their migraines, helping them heal those, and then helping them keep in that state of balance so that the migraines don't come back.
Yeah. So is everybody different when it comes to what's out of balance?
Everybody is very different. And that's one of the reasons why migraines are so hard to properly treat, is because for some people, it might be a hormone issue. For another person, it might be, serotonin problems. For another person, it might be your adrenals are not working and your cortisol is too low. So there's a lot of different things that science has correlated with increased migraine frequency and intensity, but they can be different for different people. And the same person can have multiple reasons. So that can be really tricky why medication will work on one migraine but not another. And they're like, I don't get it. And it's because there are different reasons for their particular migraine.
So from what I've heard from people before, in life is, all of a sudden they would just get a migraine out of the blue, and that would literally take them offline for a while, like 24 hours, 48 hours or more.
Right.
So what causes that to happen? Do you know?
Yeah, so it can be a bunch of different things, and that kind of goes back to that individuality of the person. So, for example, a lot of people are triggered by stormy weather, by bad weather. And what happens in the body when we are exposed to those low pressure systems coming in, we actually know that there's a correlation that will drop our serotonin. So, our serotonin will drop, and that drop in serotonin can trigger a migraine. So, a lot of people find that if they take their Imitrex or their triptan before the weather kind of hits, they learn when they can do it. If they time it right, they tend to not have as bad of a migraine. And that's because they're treating the serotonin pathway with their medication before it transforms into an actual full-blown migraine. So that's one example. From a hormonal standpoint, it can be just a certain time of your cycle where your hormones drop, and we know that either drops in progesterone or drops in estrogen can trigger a migraine. So when we're around ovulation or just before our period, when our hormones are really shifting, that can be a major trigger time for a lot of people. And then there are people that have food triggers that can kind of come back to that neurochemistry. If there's something high in histamine, and histamine is a trigger for them. If there's something high in tyramine, and tyramine is a trigger for them, then that can trigger a migraine too. So that's why it can be really confusing. I actually have a handout, and I called it my 48 things, because when I first started doing the research, I came up with 48 different reasons why a migraine might be triggered. Now it's close to 100 now.
Wow.
And so it can be really complex to try to figure out, all right, not only knowing your triggers, but then also what that means from a biochemistry standpoint, because that can point us to what's imbalanced in the body. And then we can work on those particular pathways to have them heal what's off.
How long does it take when a person comes to you and sees you, and you start the process? So how, I heard you say that you're doing your work online, and so this is something that people can, connect with you online. How does it work? For the people that are listening to this and they want to, get in touch with you, how does it work? They contact you, and then what?
Sure. So if they decide that they want to enroll, and in the program approach sounds like something that will work for them, initially what we want to do is we want to make sure that if you're going to join, it's going to work for you. So we always like to screen people before we invite them in.
They
And
get
then if they're a good fit, then we want to work on the way that our program is laid out is we want to work on all of the things that research has shown is correlated with the majority of people with chronic migraine. So things that we know about are antioxidants are very, very low in people with chronic migraine. So we need to work on that. We know that there's a link between mitochondria function and chronic migraine. So we need to be addressing the mitochondria. We know that there are electrolyte imbalances that happen in pretty much all of the chronic migraineurs. So we want to identify all of those things that almost everybody is affected by. And then we work through those and we kind of see where we're at. And that usually takes, a couple of weeks to a couple of months, depending on the person and how sensitive they are to things. And then we'll see, all right, now, our intensity went way down, our frequency is going down. What are we left with? And that's where we start to get more specific to the individual and say, all right, well, we've noticed now that we're having a cyclical component here. So there's likely a hormone piece. We notice that I've got, some issues with gut stuff. So, all right, we need to work on the gut healing. This other person over here, their testing has revealed that there's some neurotransmitter imbalances. So that's where we start to get much more targeted in kind of the second half of our program. So our program is 6 months long, just to give them enough time to work through everything. But in some cases, we start seeing results within a couple of weeks. And in other cases, it can take the full 6 months. It just depends on the person, how sensitive they are to things, and how many issues they have that they have to address.
So basically, a person that has suffered with migraines for a long time and whatever, coming to you will offer them the opportunity to once and for all work on healing the migraines all the way, is
Yep.
what I hear you saying, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And so then that becomes then the choice, and that becomes then the work ahead to really look at what it is, and then getting to the root cause of what it is, like you said.
One
It,
thing, Cornelia, if I might,
yeah,
I don't like to use the word healing when it comes to migraines because we're able to control them. But if our body becomes out of balance again, the migraines come back. So I don't know that it's a full healing in the
okay.
traditional sense.
Yeah.
But I just like to clarify that.
No, I appreciate that. I'm glad that you did. So basically, the number one thing is learning how to keep your body in balance through
Yes.
your program as well. So
Yes.
in learning, and that will then keep everything, keep the migraines away. Basically, the migraine is not going to want to come if it can't. It's not going to want to come if it comes to a balanced environment.
Right.
Yeah. So let's tell the audience how they can look you up, how they can find out your information, and where are you on social media?
Sure. So you can find me at our website at psalmmedical.com. That's PSALM medical. And we're also on Facebook at psalmmedical.com. And YouTube is Migraine Mastery, a migraine free life.
Yeah, that's so great. Well, I'm so glad that you came on. And I know that we talked about it in the green room that you're going to come back and we're going to talk about the next second offering that you're doing. And we'll talk about that in how to have a really good, healthy relationship. You called it with religion and all of that, but on a spiritual level is how to live a healed relationship with religion. Oh, leave the cat.
Oh, okay. I didn't want her to come in
Yeah,
and
no, leave.
disrupt. She'll walk right across the screen.
Oh, that's so funny. She knows she's independent. She's the queen.
That's
So
right. She
yeah,
wants what she wants.
she wants what she wants. So I'm really excited to have you back on. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I just want to ask you one question, and you're not going to be able to give me a long answer because we have 1 minute, but is there an emotional component to migraines?
Oh, so much. Absolutely. Yes. There's a lot of research that shows that traumas in childhood um, play a huge role in developing chronic migraine later in life.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's good because, addressing that also is going to support the body as well, and not to,
Yes.
and to create that balanced environment that we talked about. Well, Tanya, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I know I'm going to see you again. So
I look
thank
forward
you.
to it.
We're
Thank
going
you,
to take a
Cornelia.
break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show, everyone. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, everyone. I'm so excited to bring back Lani Almanza. She was here before last year, before she wrote and published her book. And now she's here to tell us about it today. She has an amazing bio of all the things that she's done in her life. I'm not going to go into all of it, but I am going to highlight a few things. She was born and raised on the windward side of Oahu in Hawaii. She has experience as a wife, mother, and grandmother, as well as a teacher, trainer, and facilitator in education, business, and nonprofit environments. And like I said, she's done a lot of things. She has a lot of credits there. And throughout her professional career, including still yet, Lani has been committed to creating a healthier lives and communities. She holds a master's degree in communication from the University of Hawaii. And worked with the American Cancer Society for 15 years in various leadership roles. So I want to point out one more thing about what she's recently done is she has a blog. She can tell us about that, but she also facilitates wellness retreats and provides wellness workshops to community groups. And most recently published her first book, and it's called Under a Full Moon and a Guiding Star. Welcome back to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Lani.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me back.
Oh my gosh, it's so wonderful. So you have, I just got the chills because you have created a labor of love in publishing your book.
Yeah,
And so how was that? How was that publishing your first book?
it was definitely a labor of love and a seed that was planted over 20 years ago when my youngest son was going through a brain cancer journey. And I was finishing my master's at the time and wrote a paper about our hospital experience. And my professor said, this will be the chapter of a book that you will write. And I thought, well, that's a very nice compliment, but I don't see myself writing a book anytime in the near future. But that seed definitely hit the right soil and was nurtured over time. Starting my blog about 8 years ago was also a bit of that nurturing. And it was shortly after the pandemic in 2021 when I connected with a woman who had written her own book about her caregiver journey. And there was just something that resonated about her book. It wasn't that long, but I connected with her and I said, Miriam, what I really liked was if you could write in your voice, I can write in mine. And so I connected with a writing coach because while I love to write, the process of putting together the structure of a book was overwhelming. So I got a writing coach. I worked with her for a year. And last February, she said, I think we're done with the writing. And we then moved on to getting a marketing agent and getting it published. And that was last year was a busy year getting that all done, and definitely felt like it was a very long pregnancy, and finally gave birth to my book.
Well, congratulations. I'm the author of one book myself. And I remember when I published that book, I self-published it. And it was, it was probably one of the hardest things I've completed.
Yeah.
I want to say that because it was very challenging to complete that. And so you published your book last year. Now you've been marketing it. You have a marketing agent. How is the distribution and all of that going?
Well, actually, she's not an agent. She really just worked with me on getting it uploaded to Amazon, sort of that self-publishing hurdle, and gave me some tips on how to market it. So it's really been my own self-marketing. It is available on Amazon, but I do a lot of book signings and presentations where I include my book and the opportunity for people to buy it there. I always love being able to hand someone a book in person where I can write a personal message, but definitely appreciate the online sales that keep coming in.
That's so awesome. Yeah, because one of the things that I learned is that once you publish your book, you're now in the book selling business.
Yeah.
I had this idea. I had this idea that I thought, oh, once the book is up on Amazon, it's just going to sell like crazy and like hotcakes, and it's going to be all over the place. Well, that wasn't the case. You have to constantly promote that labor of love and market that labor of love and tell people about your book. It's good that you're doing book signings. It's good that you're doing all of that and getting your book out there. Now, tell us a little bit about the book. Show us the cover. Tell us.
Okay, so here it is. Under a full moon and a guiding star. And the cover is very special. It's designed by a graphic artist who's a friend of mine. When I started writing, I asked her if she might be interested in doing the cover art, and she said, sure. And so I sent her some ideas. The image comes from a visualization that Jacob actually had while he was going through treatment about being on the back of a big sea turtle under a full moon. So I sent her some images, and it was the day before my writing coach said we were finished writing that she sent me the final product, and it was just perfect. It was just a perfect match. And actually I hadn't had that title chosen at that point, and my writing coach asked me to read a segment of my book that Under a Full Moon and a Guiding Star was the title. And when I read that out loud, it was just that the title had been there all along. But like most authors, you've got like 6 or 7 working titles. And I don't know about you, but mine just kept getting longer as I tried to revise them. So this one just really hit home. The whole purpose of the book and the whole reason for me doing it is being under that full moon and a guiding star, that this is my son's legacy.
Your son's legacy. I'm curious what the full moon and the guiding star have to do with it.
So the night of Jacob's transition in 2005, there was a full moon over our house.
Mm.
And it also was the Aries constellation, which both my birth sign and Jacob's birth sign is Aries. And so some dear friends of ours actually went to the International Star Registry and purchased a star in Jacob's name. And so in sharing that with Cindy, who's the artist, she made sure to have that full moon, and right behind the word guiding is the little image of the Aries constellation.
That's, I see, I'm so glad I asked. Because I love astrology. I use astrology as a tool. And just for your information, I'm an Aries rising. So
Oh, okay.
thank you
Yeah.
for, yeah, thank you for,
Good.
so it's so great. So what can the reader expect from buying the book? What are they going to get?
There's 3 sections, and the first 2 sections is more of the memoir of my life and my experiences and how I got to my place where I am today with Alakai Associates, and the lessons that I learn and that I share through my workshops, through my website, through my resources, through wellness products. So it really sort of goes through my life journey a little bit with those lessons highlighted, and then some specific lessons in detail at the end.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. I look forward to reading your book. I want to ask you, are you interested in being on other shows as well, like book shows or podcasts or different?
Anytime. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I have a mastermind group of entrepreneurs and authors and business coaches, and that one of our ladies there, her name is Susan Axelrod. She has a book show.
Okay.
And what she does is she highlights the author and really helps them talk about their book and really get it out there. So I will definitely introduce you to her as well. And what I'll do as well, I will have Ashley connect you and me where we can come together and maybe talk about you having a longer show, talking a little bit deeper about your work and what it is that you're doing, helping the world today with your work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions? Do you want to leave the audience with any last minute?
I do. Yeah, I would like to leave them because it's stories of hope. I want to read just a quote that I have in my book. It's from a book called The Anatomy of Hope by Jerome Groopman, which was very helpful to me in my journey. And he has this definition of hope. Hope, then, is constructed not just from rational deliberation, from conscious weighing of information. It arises as an amalgam of thought and feeling, the feelings created in part by the neural input from the organs and tissues. Hope can flourish only when you believe that that what you do can make a difference. You are no longer entirely at the mercy of forces outside yourself.
Beautiful. I don't know how long I've been doing the stories of hope. I'd have to sit down and look at how many years it's been, but this is the first time this has ever been offered on this show. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might send that to me separately.
Okay.
That's beautiful. Let's tell the audience where they can find you, look you up on social media, and also the name of your book one more time and send them to Amazon.
Okay, the book is Under a Full Moon and a Guiding Star, and you can find the link to Amazon on my website, alakaiassociates.com. That's ALAKAI associates.com. I'm also on Facebook, both as Lani Almanza and Alakai Associates. On Instagram, I am there as Honu Mom, Honu being the Hawaiian word for sea turtle, Honu Mom 808. I'm sorry, Honu Mom 1 underscore, Honu Mom 1 underscore on Instagram, and on LinkedIn as Lani Almanza.
Yeah. Wow, what a blessing. Thank you so much for coming back on the show. I wish you much success with your book. May
Thank you.
everyone go out, rush out and get a copy, and may they be touched by what it is that you shared in your book.
Thank you. And what I always put when I sign a book to someone, it's may you find peace in these pages.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Lani.
Thank
We're
you.
going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show. We'll be right back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. I'm so excited to introduce you to our next guest, Jill Wright. She is on Instagram, and her handle is Grow Like a Mother. And she also has a podcast. We're going to talk about that here in a little bit. But first, she says, do you know any moms who run their own business or have a side hustle? They can seem like super moms, but privately they struggle with overwhelm and burnout. And this can lead to costly mistakes in their businesses and stress in their close relationships. They're considering giving up on their dream because they feel like there just aren't enough hours in a day to run a business and a family. Well, the truth is, a successful supermom needs a super system to keep it all together. And that's what Jill is going to help us with today. And that's what she helps her clients create. She's a time management strategist who knows how to create systems for supermoms that support them in their business and in their family. Basically, what I'm picking up here is that you don't have to give up on your dream just because you are a mom and you have a family. Jill helps her clients take ownership of their time and make it all work so that they don't have to work so hard. Her supermom clients end up with not only a better running business, but also time for family, self-care, and even rest. Jill is an author, speaker, and host of the Grow Like a Mother podcast, and you can find her on Instagram or Facebook, Grow Like a Mother. Her book, Happy, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, is available anywhere books are sold. Tune into the Grow Like a Mother podcast for weekly doses of wisdom and inspiration. Jill, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here with you.
Wow. So you found yourself as a mother, because is this what happened? You found yourself as a mother and you had a dream?
Indeed, as I think lots of us do, but we don't know how to manage that. We get lost in the role of mom and we kind of forget who we are outside of that, I think.
Yeah. And so then you developed your own system.
Yeah. I stepped into personal development right as the pandemic happened. There was a whole lot of things that happened all at once that were outside of my control, and I realized that I needed to take control of my mindset, and if I was going to be able to sort of weather the storm. So I did a lot of work in the personal development world and realized it wasn't specifically tailored to working moms. It was really hard to implement some of these techniques that they were talking about. And so I got really good at tweaking them so that I could make it work as a working mom in my season of life. And that's what I share about now.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so what is that, determination there? Because really being with your children and doing all the things that you're doing, but there was another determination, another passion that you just felt so passionate about, right?
Mhm.
That's what was motivating you to act on, not
Yeah.
giving up on that.
Yeah. And it was essentially the fact that no one in my friend group of young moms was talking about how hard things were. And so it was sort of the inspiration for me to bring this to light. And as I was learning and growing, I was sharing. And that's where the podcast started, is really a platform to be able to just show other moms how I was transforming the information I was learning and putting it into my real world and seeing the results from that. And it grew. And now I coach working women and business owners, specifically moms, on how they can manage their time to create space for their dreams. Because I always say the goal is not the time management. The time management is the tool that you use to get to your goal. And each one of us has such unique situations, circumstances, and personality that we need to curate a personalized time management strategy, because it's not a one size fits all.
Yeah, I love the personal development piece. Like I said to you before we came on the show, it's wonderful that the work that you're doing for yourself and for your family, because you're being a healthy role model, a positive role model for your children. And, as an entrepreneur, as a businesswoman, how old are your children?
4 and 6.
4 and 6. Wow.
It's busy.
It's busy. Yeah. So you have a limited amount of time,
Mhm.
right? Where you get things done and you use your time management tool to get those things done.
Exactly. Exactly. And I know that we had been talking a little bit about burnout as well. And you had mentioned that in the introduction. And I like to think about burnout in a bit of a different way. And sometimes this can spark a little bit of like, oh, recognition. When I put it this way for people is that burnout happens for us when we are not in an equal exchange of energy. And that's often the case with moms. We are giving a lot more than we're getting in the relationship of mother-child. We don't get back any sort of like of supportive, like we are giving the support. We're not actually getting the support. And so we can find ourselves in the situation often of burnout when we're not getting the equal energy back. And that's why it's so important for us to create the time for that separately, because we need to build that into our lives in a way that we can manage. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's important to know what it is. It's an important that one of the tools or one of the questions to ask yourself is what is it that you need,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Absolutely.
That's a big one. Most people wouldn't even know how to answer that question when you ask them what do they need, right?
No.
Yeah. So I think that's really great. So now that you're doing this work and you've developed your own business throughout all of this, because you said it happened during the pandemic, and what is the dream? What is the vision? Or what are some of the results that you've seen people experience, the women you work with experience?
Well, it's so fun to see the transformation once they realize that they're the magic, right? As a coach, I'm never the one to do the actions for them. I'm the one giving them tools and ideas and support and sometimes tough love and accountability. And to see that realization when the light switch goes on, so to speak, of, oh, I'm in the driver's seat here. And now when I'm having the confidence to do these new routines and habits, I start to see the results. And then once my clients start to see that first glimmer of result, it snowballs from there. And it's so beautiful to see them. Some clients are able to spend, more time at the stables when they have horses, and that's their sort of love and passion and self-care for them. And they've created this space to be able to go and do that, where other clients of mine are able to pursue a health journey that's been something that they've been wanting to do, postpartum bodies and all of that. You don't have time, or we don't create time to be able to do that for ourselves unless it's really intentional. So I've seen some really beautiful transformations come from doing this work of really owning your time.
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, this is good for any woman, whether you're a mom or not.
Totally.
It really is, because women are naturally do so much. They give so much, like you said earlier. What is it that you want the women to do now, the women that are listening to you? How can they best support themselves
Mhm.
by following you and taking those first action steps towards making a better life for themselves?
Yes, great question. I always say the first place to start is getting quiet and creating space. And that really is like space in your mind, right? If you can find a few minutes throughout the day to be able to really listen to what your soul, your intuition is telling you, that's your starting point, right? And if we can get in the habit of creating those small moments and trusting ourselves, the path is going to reveal itself, right? And there are so many people out there teaching. I have a lot of great content that I give out. There's so many people. Find someone that is aligned with you, that you trust, and start to learn, and just get into it a little bit. Listen to a podcast or watch a YouTube video, pick up a book, and just dive in and see where it leads you.
Now, you have a wonderful podcast. Let's tell the audience how they can find that podcast, easy to find.
Yeah.
And then what can they find when you're uploading your content? You said it
Thanks.
was weekly, right?
Yes, it is. Thank you. The podcast is called Grow Like a Mother. We're in our third season, and it's on Apple and Spotify. Anywhere you want to listen to a podcast, you're going to find it there. And on Wednesdays, I have a segment I call Woo Woo Wednesdays. So we get a little bit witchy and we talk about all kinds of fun, magical things on Wednesdays. And on Thursdays, we go a little bit more structured into personal development, I do solo episodes as well as host some really incredible expert guests who give some tactical advice each and every episode. It's short and sweet because moms don't have a lot of time. So they're all half an hour or less, and you leave motivated and inspired.
Oh, I love that so much. I love the woo woo podcast.
Yeah.
I love that the magic starts there, right? But I have somebody that I highly recommend as a guest for you.
Awesome.
Would you be interested for me to connect the
Absolutely.
two of you?
Thank you.
For a guest, she's actually she does amazing work with children. She does amazing work with women, and she's a best-selling author of I don't know how many books, 6 books or whatever. So yeah, I'd love to introduce you to for her to come on your podcast and give her tips are very clean, crystal clear. It's just
Mhm.
let's go. And so I think she would be a great guest for you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for that gift. That's
Yeah,
so beautiful.
that's Peggy Bell, by the way.
Okay.
I will make the introduction via email. And I wish you so much success with everything that you're doing. I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And let's tell the audience where they can find you on social media.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure chatting with you. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Grow Like a Mother.
Excellent, excellent. Like I said to you, it's a wonderful role model, a wonderful example that you're giving to your children and wonderful gift you're giving to them. And also to all the women that you're supporting and helping otherwise as well. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. We're going to take a break on the Kornelia Stephanie Show, everyone. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I am so excited to introduce you to Clarissa Constantine. She's an only child who had a tough relationship with her mom. During college at the University of Hartford, she began what would turn into decades-long career as a test prep coach. She helped thousands of kids around the world navigate the college and grad school admission processes. Along the way, she joked that she sometimes finds herself playing the role of a therapist more than a tutor, helping kids manage the stresses of life. But no matter how many young adults she helped, she longed for a closer, more intimate relationship with her own mother. Unfortunately, that didn't come to pass before her mom passed in November of 2019. She's driven to help other families avoid the heartache, the lost years, and the regret she and most likely her mom too experienced. This includes working directly with families to find the resources they need, as well as coaching business owners who work with teens, tweens, and families. Welcome to the show today, Clarissa Constantine.
Thank you, Cornelia, so much for having me. I'm so excited to be with you today.
So I just want to say, you heard our last guest that was
Mhm.
talking about, we talked about it in the green room, how she is supporting mompreneurs to make time for themselves and strategize and be better with their time management. And then you said to me, what did you say to me?
I said one of the things that struck me about what Jill shared is how moms so frequently give and give and give, and they in the mother-child relationship, it's appropriate that the mother gives more but doesn't feel like she gets quite as much back from the kids. And what I have observed, full disclosure, my husband and I actually have not taken the path of becoming parents, although we both work with teens and tweens. But what we've observed is that as the kids age up into that 10, 12, 15, and beyond range, there's a period in there where the parents feel like they're getting even less back from their kids. And what they are getting back isn't fun. It's significantly more challenging. You know, at least when the kids are little, you're getting the cuddles and the cute times and nap times and those types of things. When kids get to be 12 and 14 years old, you get a whole lot of attitude and a whole lot more challenge. And as much as it can feel isolating to be the parent of a little, we actually do culturally have more support for families of littles than we have for families of teens and tweens. And part of that, you know, when kids are little, we look at the families and we're like, we know that you don't know how to swaddle or how to breastfeed. We have latching challenges. You know, we have lactation consultants and sleep consultants, and it's socially acceptable finally to talk about postpartum and potty training and all of those challenges. But then fast forward 10 years or so, and as a culture, we seem to think parents have it figured all out. And I haven't met one yet that thinks that they do, but they think that everybody else does. And then you add on the kids are individuating. It's appropriate for them to pull away. And we feel this disconnect between parents and kids at the same time that they're individuating and they're making their own decisions. Those decisions often come with a lot more immediacy. You know, whether we're talking the stereotypical sex, drugs, and rock and roll, there's a lot more immediate ramifications for some of the decisions that the kids make. And there's a lot more shame that comes with a lot of that. As we find the kids moving into the middle school and high school years, we see bullying becoming even more of an issue. Mental health challenges become more of an issue. And parents are frequently feeling isolated and feeling like, where did I go wrong? How did I screw up? You know, how do I fix this? Where do I go? And that's actually what started my mission at Parent Tween Connection. Was a mom, a friend of mine, whose daughter was making all the decisions you don't want your teenage daughter making. And the mom says to me, I just wish I had parents to talk to. And I was like, what does that mean? She said, number one, I wish I had parents to talk to who weren't going to judge me or my daughter for the decisions that she's making.
Mhm.
But number two, I wish I had parents to talk to give me guidance about where to go. She says, you know, I've been to the principal, I've been to the I've been to the school, I've been to the pediatrician, I've been to my house of worship. Nobody can give me action steps. What do I do to help me help my kid? So that's, that gave me pause in thinking about my own relationship with my mother. And it was, I saw, holy dumpster fire. No wonder parents are afraid of the teenage years. How do we help them?
That's good. That's so good. I totally just saw that how do we help them? That is the message, that is the question, that is the graphic, that is the title of the book, that is the whole thing, that is the
Mhm.
webinar, that is the how do we help them?
Mhm.
That's yeah. So wow, good for you. Lots of ideas were coming through. How do we help them? And of course, the parents, they want to be able to fix it. There's a disconnect going on big time. And on the children's side, those teens, tweens might also say, some of them might also say that their parents don't have time for them.
Absolutely. And it's in a lot of ways, so many of the challenges that we face as humans as we raise the next generation, like they're human challenges. And at the same time, there are so many different things in today's generation that our generation didn't navigate. Social media, technology, things like that. I mean, how many times have you heard somebody in today's parenting generation saying, man, am I glad I grew up in a day and age without YouTube, because all the stupid stuff that I did was not recorded.
Totally.
And so we're having those conversations. But, we're also having conversations around gender identity and sexuality that are very new conversations for a lot of folks. And if they don't know how to even start these conversations, how are they supposed to be supportive of kids? If you don't know what you don't know, how do you teach the next generation what you don't know? So that's a lot of what we try to do at Parent Tween Connection with with the podcast and with connecting folks, is just opening doors of conversation and saying, look, here's the basics on this topic. And here's how to take this topic and go talk to your family about it. Here's how to start the conversation about mental health with your kiddos. I think a lot of parents are shocked to find out kids are already exploring sexuality at 8 and 10 years old. I mean, parents are horrified. They're like, but they're little kids. The fact of the matter is that they are having these conversations. They are hearing friends talk about mental health challenges. They're hearing all kinds of things from other places, just like we did as kids, but now add in the social influence, the social media, and parents and other adults in the proverbial village. If we're not having these conversations with our kids, we can't influence them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're having the conversations. Us bringing it up isn't going to put new ideas in their brain. Us bringing it up is going to allow us to influence them in some fashion, not put ideas in their heads.
Right. They already have the idea because it's already happening.
Mhm.
And we know that the patterns of the past have been, oh, let's not look at it. Let's not talk about it. Let's act like it's not there, but the whole time it's there and you're just
100%.
avoiding, right? So that's the whole
Mhm.
piece. And so that's really good. What do you want the people to do? The people that are listening to this podcast, they're resonating with what you're saying. Where can they begin to start supporting themselves in what it is that you're offering?
All right, well, shameless plug. Our website is parentweenconnection.com. It's PARENTWEEN connection.com. We support primarily families with kids between the ages of 10 and 20, but those are very perforated edges. These challenges don't like magically happen once your kids hit double digits, and they don't magically stop at 20 or 21. So that's where you can find all of the professionals who can help you. That's where you can find the link to our Facebook group, all of our social, our communities, and our podcast. Bottom line, there is help available. There is hope to be had. There is always more that we can learn about different ways we can engage. Take the step, learn the things so that you can then have the conversations and open those doors with your kids.
I'm so glad you came on the show today because, like I said, I really feel that this was a divine appointment, and I'm going to be referring somebody to you. I'm going to be
Thank
talking
you.
to you again, and I think it's so great that the work that you're doing and helping this way. I think there's a great need for it because really, truly, when you think about it, the world isn't a mess. It is a mess, and we created that mess. And it's up to us now to help fix it.
Every little bit helps. And really, truly, world peace starts at home. If we don't have peace at home, how can we have peace anywhere else?
That's it. That's it. Wow, Clarissa, I want to thank you so much for coming on and for sharing your wisdom and also your mission work with us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for the platform and for sharing so many amazing people who are doing fantastic things in our world.
Absolutely. I want to thank everybody for listening and tuning into the Kornelia Stephanie Show, everyone. We'll see you again next Friday. Have an amazing weekend. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.